see, John's the smart one.
Good morning. Oh. Guess who's not getting a CD later?
He walked up the steps that didn't hurt you.
Guess who's not using my microphone either?
That's fine. So, anybody have any questions that they want to start off the morning with?
Don't be shy.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Will you sing Stray for us later? Please?
I'm still asleep.
Okay, everyone else?
Well, okay, let's see. My brother and I, John, this is my brother John, by the way. Have you met him? We had a rehearsal space in New York where we still have our recording studio, and we shared it with a drummer named Jim Musson, who I believe is on some of Yoko's albums. And she came to town and wanted a rock singer, and she asked Jim, "Do you know anybody?" And he gave her my name. I went down. The first thing I did was sing Everywhere and Nowhere from her solo album, Song to Fly. And then I guess she liked it. And then she called me back. The next thing we did was some Cowboy Bebop stuff. We did Call Me, Call Me. Then we did Rain. Then we did Words We Couldn't Say. And she was always calling me when I was sick. So I was always going to the studio going, kind of like what I sound like this morning. Is that enough of an explanation for you? Yeah. So it's like when you live in New York long enough and you know enough musicians, and you're good, people tend to pass your name around when asked, can you recommend someone? So that's kind of how it happens. Thank you. Arigato.
I have a question.
Okay.
How did you get started in music, period? I mean, what pointed you into this industry, and when did you know that you wanted to do this as a living?
And you were good.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, our dad was, our parents split up when we were really young, and our mom was a singer, jazz singer, but she's sort of semi-retired now. She teaches voice, but she was sort of grooming us for a career in music, and our dad was trying to get us to get jobs at the post office, and giving us books on how to be a fisherman. So we just ignored that and just went with what we loved, which ever since we were this big. In fact, we have our first band we ever had. We were like 9 and 10 years old. We recorded our first album in the living room. One of the songs is on our album Linoleum over there. It's called Peace. And that was actually recorded back when we were kids. On a little cassette recorder. Anybody have a cassette recorder these days? No, right?
Actually, Katie does.
Wow, old school.
Yeah. I still use cassettes, and we have some cassettes over there.
Oh yeah, we do have cassettes for sale too, for those old school people. Oh. Yeah, so ever since we were little kids, and then, it just sort of turned, our mom brought us on gigs with her when we were old enough, like 15 or 16, and we started playing clubs with her, and then private parties, and weddings, bar mitzvahs. We don't do that anymore, though.
Yes.
Who are your main influences?
Okay, who are your main influences? I realize that any camera won't be able to hear that, so I'm going to repeat everything that's said from the audience. Okay.
Who are your main influences?
Still won't.
Our main influences are... Jeez, I mean, everything. Good, let's shout them all out. Ready? Go. Beatles.
Yeah.
James Brown.
Rolling Stones.
Prince.
The Monkees.
Beethoven.
Louis Armstrong.
Miles Davis.
Tom Waits.
Bebel Gilberto.
The Jackson 5.
Who else? I'm trying to visualize my record collection right now. AC/DC.
Yeah.
Starting with the A's. Frank Zappa. A to Z.
Okay, are there any, yes?
How many record studios have you been with over your career?
Let's see, I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Labels.
How many labels?
Oh, how many record labels have we been with? We had a band called Company of Wolves. We were on Mercury Records. And we did 2 albums for them. And that was our first time that we actually, we'd done demo tapes and stuff before that, but that was our first thing that was ever released. And then after we left that label in the mid-90s, we started our own label, Thunderdog, which our records that we have here are on. And so we've done what? 1, 2, 3 actual releases and 1 sort of greatest hits. Greatest hits, wow. That's sort of a best of, really, with a couple of extra tracks. And yeah, so our own label, Mercury. And do we have some compilation stuff? Yeah, we had some compilations, albums that we were on with other various artists and stuff. So that would be 2. That's the long answer.
Since you got involved with the Ohayocon projects, have you been spending a lot of time in Japan doing things? Have you moved both of your stuff here? And also, what were you saying about the New York Dolls yesterday? Because I kind of missed that.
Well, I am the guitar player in the New York Dolls right now. Yeah, if you guys don't know who they are, they're like the first punk band, really. They came out in the early 70s. They hadn't played a gig since 1975. That means they're really old. But no, they're great guys. The remaining 3 New York Dolls and I played a concert in London, which is out now on DVD and video. And CD. It's called, you know who Morrissey is?
Yeah.
So Morrissey was like the president of the New York Dolls fan club when he was a kid. And so he got the band back together after 30 years. David Johansen is the singer. He was Buster Poindexter in the 80s. He's the same guy, yes, but he grew his hair back. And so Morrissey, who's laughing?
She's ecstatic. She's amused. You're a Buster Poindexter fan, too?
Morrissey.
Oh. She doesn't like hot. Okay. So, yeah, anyway, I'm giving you another long answer, but when Morrissey called Johansson and said, can you put the Dolls back together, he called me up, and we did it. And then about a month, the show was filmed, and about a month after the show, the original bass player, Arthur Kane, died, which is the 4th person from the New York Dolls to die. So I'm hanging on to my life now, this gig. And, but you can see the DVD if you check it out. It's called Morrissey Presents The Return of the New York Dolls. And Arthur is on there. So that's what I said about the New York Dolls.
And I'm actually in.
And John's on it too. John was a New York Doll for one day, and the extra footage from a show we did in Manchester with Morrissey for like 80,000 people. It was awesome. And yeah, I mentioned that because I had a pink polka dot guitar strap on yesterday, and someone liked it. Thank you very much. And your other question, I forgot now. Something about Japan. Oh, yes. So I was actually in Japan with the New York Dolls recently, and we played in Tokyo and Osaka. It was awesome. Got some great shirts there and jackets. And yeah, the fans are just incredible. I mean, they all, the backstage thing after the Osaka show was just out of control. And the kids were like maybe 18, 19. They weren't even born when the New York Dolls came out. And they were all there just dressed to the nines and like leopard and pink and red hats and, just looking amazing. And so that was the second time I was in Japan. The first time I was in Japan was with Yoko back in 2001. And it was when the Cowboy Bebop movie came out. Anybody see that? Yeah? Hey, where's your red eyes? So it was really freaky because I had done the series, and then Sony was coming out with the film, And so Yoko decided to do a concert with the seatbelts. So I went over there and I basically sang 2 songs. I sang Call Me, and Rain. And it was nuts. It was about a 2,000-seat arena, and as soon as she started playing the opening notes to Rain, the crowd just went wild. And it was a warm reception for me, and I loved it. And I'd love to go back. So,
Well, I heard a rumor yesterday that you had moved to Japan. Someone said, so I heard Steve was living in Japan, or had lived in Japan, and it didn't quite work out.
Somebody really thought that?
Yeah. So,
Lies.
that's what rumors are.
Does that answer your question? Good.